Hello, glad to see you again. Today I thought we'd do an almighty winter picture, and I want to put a great deal of emphasis on the sky and how we make big, billowy, fluffy clouds that just roll and lay up in the sky here. So I've already covered the canvas.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hello, I'm Chesterfield Featherbottom, and today, on Mystery of History, we ask the age-old question, what is art? And more specifically, what qualifies as historical art? We'll find out today how much art is part of the mystery that is history.
Mystery of History with Chesterfield Featherbottom.
Inside this museum, history's mysteries unravel. And it's here where our correspondent, famous playboy and podcast host, Ron Scalzo, takes a peek inside a facility that holds nearly 150 million specimens of plants, fossils, animals, minerals, rocks, and cultural artifacts. But today, he's searching for something more.
A massive structure stands on the National Mall at Constitution Avenue Northwest in Washington, D.C., containing a massive collection of objects that help tell the complex history of a nation. But we're not here looking for objects. Not really. We're on a hunt for joy, and we're not even sure we'll find it until at least the middle of this episode. But first, let's find out what folks know about this place here on the outside.
Excuse me. Hey, how are you today?
Hi.
What do you think of when you hear Smithsonian?
I think of the Smithsonian Museum, which should be in Washington, D.C. I believe it's in Washington, D.C.
It should be, and it is.
Oh, great.
Name a few things that might be in the Smithsonian. Go ahead.
Like, isn't part of the Apollo spacecraft in there?
Maybe presidents, like George Washington's wooden teeth or something.
What if I told you that the hat that Abraham Lincoln was wearing on the night he was shot was in this museum?
That is not in there.
Totally true.
It's
totally
not,
true.
Is it?
Art. Yeah, definitely art. Maybe like a Van Gogh or a Picasso.
I know there's important memorabilia in that museum.
Yes.
Like I know the
10 seconds.
Oh gosh. Wait, am I supposed to be listing stuff?
They're all correct. Well, maybe not about George Washington's teeth. But presidents are represented here. So are spacecraft, and yes, of course, art. The Smithsonian's got a whole building full of American art, showcasing the works of the masters. Georgia O'Keeffe, Edward Hopper. But the joy we're looking for isn't here amongst the rocket ships and Woodrow Wilson's long underwear. It's in the neighborhood, though. I can feel it. Tom's helping me make this episode. Maybe he knows. So, Tom, they want me to do some of these man-on-the-street interviews. Are you on the street right now?
Not yet, but I can be.
All right, go out on the street.
Okay, there we go.
Now, do I have to be on the street, too? Like, does man on the street mean I'm the man or you're the man?
I'm not sure.
Well, why don't you put me out on the street, too, just in case?
Okay, come on out. There we go.
Oh, it's nice out today. What do you think of when you hear Smithsonian?
Personally, the Air and Space Museum and a lot of the modern or contemporary arts.
Right, exactly. Art. But they told me I might find some Joy Bob Ross here, and I went to all the arts parts. I walked through like 4 times. I even asked the lady in a pantsuit, have you seen any joy around here? And she's all like, I don't even work here. And I'm hungry, and I want a hot dog.
Well, did you visit the History Museum? You are trying to solve a mystery of history.
Tom, you're not making any sense. But fine. It's worth a shot. Okay, get back to work. I'm going in there, and I ain't coming out till I find some joy.
Good luck, man.
Jeez, this place is huge. This joy's got to be around here somewhere. Well, we're here. Maybe this guy knows. Hey, guy. What do you think of when you hear Smithsonian?
When you add together the visitation of all the different Smithsonian museums, it is the most visited museum in the world. You know, it's a complex of museums, so we're kind of cheating. But, you know, more people do come into our museums than any other museum in the world when you consider it that way. And part of it is the status that it is the National Museum, that the things that you see on display here are owned by the American people. It's our shared cultural heritage. So whether that's great works of art or, you know, these historical artifacts that we have on display at our museum, they actually are shared by the people of the United States. You know, your tax dollars go to support them.
Ah, see? Now we're getting some answers.
And I think, you know, the really great thing about that is that the museums are all free. So you're able to walk in for free. You know, that's why we get busloads of 8th graders on their school trips, you know, in spring break or whatever, coming to the museum and getting to share in all of this, because it is something that belongs to all of us. I'm Ryan Lintelman. I'm a curator of entertainment at the National Museum of American History.
My name is Eric Jentz. I am a curator at the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of American History, specializing in sports and entertainment. Growing up, I wasn't a great scholar, but I paid a lot of attention to popular culture, and so I feel like I'm really blessed that I can kind of take these interests and share them with the public.
I really loved museums because you're not studying history just for the sake of studying history. It's to teach and to tell stories, and that's what I really love about public history and working in museums. And it's sort of the idea of having this sort of cultural campus where we can pursue the mission that the Smithsonian was originally founded with, the increase and diffusion of knowledge. The American History Museum was established in the 1960s to tell the story of the nation. It was originally the Museum of History and Technology, but took on the name American History in the 1980s to kind of more accurately reflect that we're trying to tell the history of the nation.
And in 2022, procuring pop culture at the Smithsonian became a top priority for these fellas for a new exhibition called Entertainment Nation, a place where folks could feast their eyes upon some famous footwear.
Aren't you forgetting the ruby slippers?
A prominent puppet.
Hiya, my name is Kermit, and Gordon has asked me to say a word or two in behalf of the letter W.
And a superhero sports car.
The Batmobile, we asked to borrow it. Obviously, they might want to use it again at Warner Brothers, so
Well, Batman needs it.
I'll say, Batman, remind me to give the Batmobile an extra quart of oil next time we change it.
And now we have to get our hands on a certain oily bird.
The Smithsonian was making a statement. History ain't just rocks and stars and dinosaur bones. It's entertainment too, baby. And it's Ryan and Eric's duty to decide what merits inclusion.
We want to really make strong cases for the things that we bring into the museum's collection being of great historical significance, of lasting value, the cultural heritage that we deserve to preserve, that future generations are really going to care about. In our Entertainment Nation exhibition, where we look at the entirety of American entertainment history back to the 1840s and all the way to today, we decided to kind of organize it around questions that entertainment helps to answer. Things like, what does it mean to be a modern man or woman in the early 20th century when you saw, like, you know, new images on screen of glamorous people? And one of the questions that we had for this period from like the 1990s to today is, who do you trust?
This is one of the easiest, most effective ways I've ever designed to create an effective little stone buildings. See there? It's very, very simple. Very simple. You'll love it. Promise. Sounds like a used car salesman. Trust me. Trust me. I'll take a little dark sienna and bright red and mix it together here.
Sometimes when we get a call about collecting something, you know, it's not exactly what we want or not a great wealth of material, you know, it might be a button off of Charlie Chaplin's jacket or something like that, you know. And then sometimes we get these calls like we did, you know, in this case, where there was just an incredible wealth of material.
The value is in the material.
An incredible archive of Bob Ross's life, his career, his impact on American history and culture. And so, you know, that presents a different challenge for us, is that we have to think about, you know, okay, how do we best tell this story? What are the objects that really are going to be useful in this museum context to resonate with our visitors, to represent the man and his impact?
In the 1990s, while a guest on The Phil Donahue Show, Bob Ross was famously challenged by the talk show host about the possibility of his paintings hanging in a museum.
You'd say out loud, your work will never hang in a museum. No. Bob!
Well, maybe it will, but probably not the Smithsonian.
Because why, Bob? What's the deal here? What are you telling us?
Well, I'm trying to teach people a form of art that anybody can do. This is art for anyone who's ever wanted to put a dream on canvas. It's not traditional art, it's not fine art, and I don't try to tell anybody it is.
Probably not the Smithsonian, Bob tells Phil. Well, it took 3 decades. But Bob's here all right, and the Smithsonian wanted more than just his paintings.
Materials he used to paint, including the easel that he made from a ladder.
Nothing makes a better easel for a more reasonable price than a step ladder or a platform ladder. Any kind of ladder works very, very well.
His palette.
This is just plexiglass palette. The only difference in the one you have, I take sandpaper and scuff this one all up so it doesn't shine so bad when the studio lights here shine on.
A number of brushes, including some in an ammunition box that he used to keep his brushes in.
This is my new gold brushes. See that? Nice gold hair in them. They're beautiful. Beautiful little devils.
You know, even though we've done some research on Bob Ross, you know, sort of seeing these things in person brought home some of the stories that we could tell. So this idea that, you know, his paintbrushes were stored in these former ammunition cases, you know, the biographical interest in that and talking about his time in the armed forces and, you know, his sort of rededication to creating art and the kind of life that he wanted to live afterward.
See how easy you can make a sky just using a knife. Little practice. And have some fun.
We were also able to see, you know, what was really cool that each of these paintings was done 3 times. So, you know, he created it first and then he would paint it on the air and he would paint it step by step for the educational materials that were made. So that was a story that we decided we really wanted to tell, and there were ways that we could use that to kind of draw out, you know, what was interesting about his style of art, but also teaching, right? And so we decided that we'd collect all 3 of the same painting so that we could, you know, kind of demonstrate that to visitors.
Maybe you want more than 1 or 2. Whatever, it's up to you.
We wanted to collect around the TV programs, so we collected a couple production notebooks. And one of my favorite things that we collected was a bunch of fan letters from all sorts of disparate people, because that's the connector to show that his program had an impact, that it really meant something to people, and that's why the Smithsonian should collect it.
I get some letters sometimes. People say everything in your world is happy, and that's true. We try to keep everything happy in here. Shoot, if you want bad stuff, watch the news. In this world, we only have pleasant things.
Bob Ross's place in pop culture can be attributed to many things. His whisper of a voice, his pronounced pompadour, his bumper sticker catchphrases.
But I was taken by the positivity. I had this professional role, but also just becoming a parent and everything. You saw Ross kind of emerge on the internet in this really interesting way, being kind of shown as a role model for encouragement and positivity.
This is your tree, so you have to make the big decision. Are there a few limbs, a lot of limbs, no limbs? Whatever. Any way you want it, you can do it.
He continues to impact people's lives in a positive way.
People that they never believed that they could paint. And you wouldn't believe some of the pictures they send me of the paintings. My gosh, it really makes it all worthwhile.
There's a world of hot takes and strong opinions, and I think especially younger people who have grown up in this media really look for encouragement, positivity, hope, a way to feel good about yourself. And I think that's really lacking in a lot of public discourse.
So I think that that's one of the things that drives people to look for these sort of authoritative and trusted figures like Bob, who, you know, kind of make you feel warm and cozy and happy when you watch them.
So I think that Ross today, he's grown into a figure of like, oh no, there are people that are trying to help you become a better person, showing skills on how to process your life and enjoy things and be happy, when most, I think, information is really a way to, you know, garner views through outrage or through argument.
There's something about that in this sort of modern world where everything seems so combative, to find something that feels like a warm hug when you watch it.
These are mood paintings. If you're in a good mood, oh, you can paint some of the most beautiful, delicate things. if you're in a bad mood, if you just had an argument or somebody kicked you. These are ones you can really take out your hostilities on. Strong paintings.
Bob Ross's paintings are here at the Smithsonian. He's a happy little piece of American history. His enduring legacy of positivity and encouragement passed on through generations make him as iconic as the pastoral landscapes he painted for us on TV.
But it was something that you could watch with multiple generations of your family, right? Everybody kind of had an interest in it. And I kind of remember it being a gathering place that you're watching somebody be so creative and so positive and thoughtful in his conversation that it kind of prompts conversation with you among your parents and grandparents.
But Bob Ross has a place at the Smithsonian because those landscapes he painted were pretty impressive, too.
Every time I show Ross's paintings to people in, personal setting, they always exclaim, "It's really good."
And warm colors are very popular right now. I think maybe they're always popular. People don't like to be cold.
So if you ever pass through our nation's capital and feel some extra warmth coming from the Smithsonian, that's because Ryan and Eric didn't just take tools and toys, paintings and brushes. The Smithsonian wanted to tell the whole Bob Ross story. So they collected the joy, too. Mystery solved.
We've been proven right in our selection that it was really uniquely resonant with people because it almost feels like you're standing there with Bob and seeing him at work.
If this is your first time with us, I think you'll really enjoy this fantastic wet-on-wet painting technique. We'll use about a dozen colors, some sort of unorthodox brushes, and we'll have a lot of fun. And each week, we'll do a fantastic painting here. Now, I hope you drag out your paints and your easel, big glass of iced tea, and you sit down and you join me each week and learn the joy of painting.
The old clock at the museum tells me we've got another finished podcast episode. I want to thank my guests, Eric Jentz and Ryan Lintelman. This happy little episode was produced with help from James Shapiro at Jansen Media and mixed by Digital Sound and Video of Daytona Beach, Florida. Support your local public television station and say thanks for giving us Bob Ross and the joy of painting. We want to see your paintings. Use hashtag #PaintLikeBobRoss. Bob Ross certified instructors are the only ones that know how to teach you Bob's world-famous painting method. So don't settle for second best. Find a local CRI at bobross.com and then click Take a Class. Got your own Bob Ross story to tell? Leave us a message at 866-FANBRUSH or email us at podcast@bobross.com. And you can follow us on Facebook at The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. I'm Ron Scalzo. The Joy of Bob Ross is written and produced by me, Ron Scalzo, in partnership with Bob Ross, Inc. Bob Ross name and images are registered trademarks of Bob Ross, Inc.